No, I'll say it again. He was seeing visions of the Undertaker's gloves telling him to kill.
Signing to him?
Yes.
Wow.
Hello, fam. What up? What's up? How you doing?
Hey.
Good?
Good.
Good. Hey, I have a quick thing.
That's Rachel. I'm Rebecca. If you're new here, thanks for joining.
Oh, yeah. Should we do an intro?
Yeah, we haven't done one in a while. Are y'all new here? Okay, here's our spiel. Here's our thing. We are identical twins. We tell true crime stories, always with a plot twist or a shock factor you won't see coming. We do not like old-timey crimes.
Nope.
You know, those that are like in the 1800s is where if I hear a podcast or TV show that gets into a true crime story set in like, or even early 1900s, 1800s, so surefire way for me to turn it off. I find it boring. So does Rach.
That's right.
Sorry.
I usually don't go earlier than like, I always say 1960, but I can't even think of a 1960 crime I've done. I will say though, I have been leaning towards the 80s, 90s, late 70s.
Oh yeah,
those investigations just get crazy before there's touch DNA and all that. It's just so interesting. Anyway, so that's that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going today. This is Rachel. One thing I want to shout at the top: in the next couple of episodes, it's not next week. It's probably the following week. We have a special episode coming out. We are collabing with Women in Crime. They are badass criminologists.
That's
I'm
right.
sure you've heard of them. They have far more episodes than we do. And they're
like
time.
in the 200s, right?
No, I think they're more than that. Hold on.
Collabing. We're just a bunch of influencers here.
They have 366 episodes.
Holy shit.
As of right now. So they have been doing this a while. Again, they're criminologists, badass. So more on that to come, or we'll just surprise you with it. We're recording it this week. We are so excited.
I know.
They're going to come in with some good expertise that we just don't have.
We don't have, guys.
We just pretend to on a podcast every week.
What if I became very combative and I just argue with everything they said, pretending like I know what I'm talking about?
I'd be hard pressed to tell you that.
To kick me under the table?
They'd win.
Yeah.
They'd win, is all I'm telling you.
I'd embarrass myself.
Yeah. So, without further ado, I'm telling y'all about the Gallaudet University murders.
Okay.
This is a sordid tale, I tell you. Okay. Sources: court documents, Crime Library, Time Magazine, Washington Post, and On the Case with Paula Zahn. There's an episode on.
Do you just go to Crime Library? I never find when I Google the next story I'm doing, Crime Library never pops up. I always forget about it until you source it.
No, it's always a fun surprise. But this one, actually, I was perusing Crime Library and saw it and was like, excuse me? So, Eric Plunkett was born on September 8th, 1981 in Portland, Oregon. When he was 3 months old, his mom noticed that he didn't seem to be hearing, like the phone would ring and he wouldn't jerk his head. So they ran tests and it turned out he had congenital rubella, which I guess his mom, Kathleen, contracted rubella when she was pregnant with him. It's the German measles, if you will, but you pass it to if you're pregnant, you'll pass it to your baby. And as a result, Eric was born deaf and had cerebral palsy. Excuse me. But he wasn't in a wheelchair. His mom would later say in an interview it was a mild case. He wasn't in a wheelchair, but it's limiting. You can't do all the physical activities other boys in your grade are doing. He was smaller. He was tall and skinny. Yeah. But he took it in stride and the whole family rallied around him. They're all really close and supportive of each other. And because of it, Eric tried his best not to let his hearing loss or his cerebral palsy get in his way. He loved to travel. Every Christmas list had plane tickets on him. He was like, I'm not letting this stop me.
Yeah. Good for him.
Good for him. Eric attended the Oregon School for the Deaf in Salem, Oregon.
He's 100% hearing loss?
Yes.
He cannot hear. Okay.
Then in 1997, when he was in high school, they moved to Burnsville, Minnesota, and he graduated from the Minnesota State Academy for the Deaf in 2000. After graduation, Eric was amped to start college at Gallaudet University, which is a private university for deaf and hard of hearing in Washington, D.C. When he got in, he framed his acceptance letter and told his mom that in 4 years, he was going to replace it with his diploma. He was so excited and proud, as he should be. It's prestigious. Yeah. It's prestigious. Yeah. Okay. The Time article referred to it as the deaf Harvard, Wharton, and Brookings all rolled into one.
Excuse me. Wow.
So it's big time. He started his freshman year in August 2000, and from the jump, Eric got involved on campus. He joined and was elected secretary of the Lambda Society, which is an LGBTQ plus student organization. He was living in a dorm called Cogswell Hall.
In 2000?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, he was out, proud. His family was proud. He's
great.
Just sweet.
Yeah.
He was living in a dorm called Cogswell Hall and made fast friends with other guys living there, particularly 3 guys named Thomas Bench, Joseph Mesa, and Benjamin Varner. The 4 of them even decided that they'd call their wing of Cogswell Hall the Wild Wild West.
Oh.
I think it was orientation when they all met.
Oh, okay.
I know some of them did, but it was dorms are fun.
Yeah.
And then when they left, they all piled their hands in and said Wild Wild West.
Is that really?
One Post article said that. It's cute. It's fun.
Yeah, that's great. Wow, the Wild Wild West, I wonder. You're in Washington, D.C.
Wild and crazy guys.
Oh, okay.
Oh, because they're in the West Wing. There's it's
like they're not in rural.
West and actually I don't think the other one's even east. I think it's north. Like it's a I don't know.
Okay.
Very 60s built building, Anyway. Everyone said Eric was very social. He always had his door open to chat with people walking by. He was always eager to invite people in to look at pictures of his baby sister's birthday party, which is so sweet.
Stop. That is very sweet.
Yeah. He'd also offer.
Also, people don't care.
What? Oh, I'd say, yeah. Well, he was just so proud. It's cute.
I know. It's so cute. People probably really
especially 18-year-old boys.
No,
like, what?
I don't.
Okay. He'd also offered to let anyone borrow like his new CD or his new video. He like bought movies. He would just shoot the shit. He just man about town, wanted to chat.
Sure.
His very social nature is the reason why his friends took notice when on September 28th, 2000, Eric's door was closed all day. It was weird because it honestly was never closed, especially all day. So his good friend and across the hall neighbor, Joseph, noticed that he also wasn't in math that day. And when he didn't show up for dinner that night, Joseph was like, fuck this, and went to Eric's door and it was locked. Again, weird. Oof. Then he noticed a foul smell coming from the room. So he immediately went to the RA and told him something was wrong. So just before 9 p.m. on September 28th, the RA used a master key to open the door and check on him. And again, having cerebral palsy, like they were scared he may have fallen. Oh, God. He was sick. They didn't know.
Yeah.
They go in and the lights are off. So Joseph flips the switch and what they find is so much worse than if he had fallen.
You're right.
19-year-old Eric Plunkett was lying on the floor. He wasn't moving. He was covered in blood and covered in bruises. He had been bludgeoned to death.
Ow.
What? It's funny?
No, it's not. It's church giggles, I swear.
Okay. And?
Because no one heard him.
I know.
No one heard it.
Yep. Talk about targeting on an opportunity. He was attacked in a place where nobody could hear him.
Oh. It was nervous laughter.
Don't you dare church giggle.
I'm sorry. No, I was nervous laughter when I realized it. I'm back.
Yeah.
That is terrible. He sounded wonderful.
I know. He was. Based on the blood evidence and the splatter, the chair in his room was determined to be the weapon.
Whoa.
Ugh.
Like his desk chair?
Yes. The RA ran out and called police, and soon this typically very safe campus was swarming with Washington, D.C. police.
Uh-huh.
A few hours later, Eric's parents woke up to loud knocking on their front door in Minnesota, and it was 2 uniformed police officers and a chaplain who they didn't tell them what happened. they gave them a phone number to a detective in Washington, D.C. and said, you need to call this number ASAP.
What?
That was it. They didn't have details. They were just told to go give them this phone number and tell them to call now. They were like, we don't know what it is, but they told us 3 to come. Can you imagine?
No.
That?
And where do they live?
Minnesota.
Oh my God, they're a flight away.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So they did. They called the number and got the horrible news that their son was beaten to death.
Oh my God.
And they immediately got on a plane to go to DC.
Yeah.
An autopsy revealed that Eric had been attacked from behind, likely strangled. And while he was on the ground, he was beaten to death with kicks to his head. And then the killer grabbed the desk chair and beat him in the head. His official cause of death was blunt force trauma and a broken neck.
Oh.
Gruesome.
Oh, gruesome. And hours that would take. What? Oh, God.
Ugh. There was obviously a ton of blood, and there was a single piece of hair found on his body that didn't match his. It was light brown, like a little longer than his. So they gathered all of that and submitted it to the FBI crime lab. It was later determined that all the blood was Eric's. But the results on the hair took months.
Yeah.
Investigators also prepared search warrants for Eric's computer so they could dig into his AOL, his email, and some floppy disks they found in the room. Mm-hmm. Since you needed a key card to get into the dorms, they were confident it was either a student or staff member, but it was very common for students to hold the door open for someone behind them or trust that the person behind them just forgot their key card. So it being an outsider wasn't out of the realm of possibility, especially considering some of the neighborhoods surrounding the campus. It's Northeast DC. Some of the neighborhoods were dicey.
Yeah, for sure.
Anne lived right around the corner, too.
No, she didn't. She lived in the safe neighborhood that is Glover Park, far from Capitol Hill. Isn't this on Capitol Hill?
This is Northeast. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. You'll have to map it. For those of you, for subscribers, y'all know who I'm talking about when I say Anne. It was a bonus episode way back when. I think my second bonus episode.
Yeah.
So it's called Rebecca's Landlord, I think. Just y'all go look it up. It's worth it. It's worth it. Join Patreon, Apple subscribe, join through Spotify. It's worth it. I promise you. Okay.
It's shocking what a banger that was.
The story.
How many people liked it?
It's a banger of a story. Obviously. That's why I picked it.
Yeah.
Meh. The following night, there was a candlelight vigil at the student union. His friends Thomas Minch and Joseph Mesa, Joseph's the one who alerted the RA, spoke about Eric and his courage and taking on new challenges despite having cerebral palsy and on top of being deaf. He was always eager to learn something new and go on a new adventure, and they admired him for that. His parents were also there, and his poor mom said that the last conversation they had, he was calming her nerves about him being at school and living on his own, and he ended the conversation with, "Don't worry about me."
Oh.
And those were the last words he said to her.
Wow. And then he is taken from her in the worst way.
And within a month of school starting.
Oh.
As the vigil wrapped up, many of the people in attendance went up to the Plunketts to give their condolences. Staff, students, everyone. They also told them stories about Eric and shared how he impacted their lives in the very short time they knew him. Mm-hmm. A makeshift memorial sign was put up by friends outside the dorm, and everyone's just shocked and in mourning, just crazy. So investigators start asking his friends, staff, other students that they knew who could be responsible. And keep in mind, most of these interviews require an interpreter, and in some cases too, interpreters who know American Sign Language are in the interrogation room with them. So it's not their typical process, and there's a lot of speed bumps in the way of, because they have to wait for the interpreter to be available, then get them. I mean, it is.
Yeah, that
sounds
very challenging.
Yeah, but they figured it out. So a lot of people they talked to theorized that since Eric was openly gay and active in the Lambda Society, it could be a hate crime. There had already been a few anti-gay incidents around campus to the Lambda Society, but I mean, this is a huge escalation. So they considered it, but it seemed more personal than that. Although this is only 2 years after Matthew Shepard, and that was and Matthew Shepard's awful murder was similar. I mean, he was beaten. It was, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, it was personal. That could still be a hate crime.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
But their main thing was he was targeted in his dorm room. Like they really sought him out.
Yeah.
So they weren't too sure about that one. As they're talking to friends, they learned that Eric spent a lot of time with his close-knit group of friends, especially Thomas Mitch, who spoke at the vigil and offered Eric's parents condolences. So a little bit about Thomas. 18-year-old Thomas Mitch.
A little bit about is always a bad sign.
There's a little bit about everyone, so don't buckle up.
Oh, okay.
Buckle up.
But it's usually prompted with a little more on. But
yeah, that's pretty good.
Insert murderer's name here.
18-year-old Thomas Mitch was also a freshman. He was born and raised in Greenland, New Hampshire, and hearing loss ran in his family. Both his parents were deaf, one of his brothers, and several cousins, all deaf.
Okay.
So they were equipped to handle it. It was not a huge shock to learn that he was deaf when he was born. They all knew sign language. So he learned very young, obviously.
Yeah.
Like everyone else, he was thrilled when he got into Gallaudet. He met Eric at orientation, and they were instant friends. He took Eric's murder really hard. He was in shock. He was grieving. He made a dedication to him on his website. I guess he had a personal website, and I couldn't find anything about it. But and he
I think a lot of people did back then.
It was so new.
Yeah, the internet. Everyone's excited about it. I think everyone had a little.
2000's pretty early, but I bet that would be impressive for people to be like, yeah, I have a website.
Right.
Guess what?
I just remember the Napa murders. One of them had a website.
Yeah.
I feel like, and it was around that time where I'm like, maybe it was just exciting and everyone, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And Thomas even helped plan the candlelight vigil that had gone on earlier. Because they were so close, police called Thomas in to speak with them about the murder on Tuesday, October 3rd, 2000, just to see what he knew, what he thought. Thomas told them they were good friends. They hung out a lot. It's, awful. I'm in shock, same old. Then they asked if he and Eric had ever been romantic, to which Thomas was taken aback and said, absolutely not. I'm not gay. The thing is, though, this conflicted with what several students and people calling a tip line told detectives. Many people seem to think that he and Eric were more than friends. In fact, they didn't tell Thomas this, or they didn't tell Thomas who said this, but one of the tipsters was their friend Joseph Mesa, who told cops that the day of the murder, Eric and Thomas had a physical altercation. They brought this up to him, and Thomas denied it profusely. He was like, no, that didn't happen. They asked when he last saw Eric, and at first he said it had been 2 weeks prior to the murder, and detectives informed him, like, no, people saw y'all together after that.
Y'all live in the same dorm.
Yeah, even the day of the murder, people said they saw you together. And this is when, in the eyes of the investigators, Thomas's house of cards starts to fall. And I will just point this out in case someone ats me. Some sources did say that Thomas lived in the neighboring dorm, Krug Hall, but after this, a bunch of the students were moved to Krug Hall during the investigation.
Yeah.
So, but I more often than not read that he was part of the Wild Wild West crew.
Sure.
Naming crew. So I'm like, I think he lived there and then he ended up in Krug Hall, but a lot of people did. I don't know. Anyway, really irrelevant. They were good friends. That's what we know. So investigators were like, this is getting a little hazy for you, Thomas. Thomas said, no, that's crap. I was not with them the day of the murder. Like whoever said that. Because on Thursday, September 28th, the night of the murder, he was at the theater working as the assistant stage manager, which is verifiable. The problem with that is that was the day Eric was found. The autopsy determined that the murder happened the night before, which was Wednesday, September 27th. So they're like, you thought we were going to determine he was killed on Thursday because he was found on Thursday. So you had your alibi all ready to go. You were at the theater. That's verifiable. We can check on that. But we know he was actually killed the night before.
Right.
They ended up talking to Thomas for 4 hours, and he finally admitted, yes, they had a sexual encounter once, but Thomas realized he was not gay, and he made it clear to Eric that they could only be friends.
Okay.
According to the police report, Thomas then became very nervous, shaking, covering his face, and he asked the detectives, "If I tell you what happened that night, what will happen to me?" He went on to confess that he was in Eric's room Wednesday night, and while he was looking at a poster that he had given Eric for his birthday, Eric came up behind him and started to touch him. Thomas said no and started to leave the dorm room, but Eric grabbed him and asked him not to leave. But Thomas still started making his way out the door, and Eric grabbed him again, which is when Thomas turned around and pushed him to the ground and left. Then Eric started, so he's admitted, okay, the fight happened, the sexual encounter happened. Then it said that Eric started pounding his fist on the table, declaring he wasn't gay. The police report literally says he was very concerned that everyone knew he was straight.
Wait, you said Eric started pounding his fist.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thomas started. I'm sorry.
I was like, I thought he was open. I thought he was out.
No.
Okay.
No. Then Thomas started during the interview pounding his fist. Thank you for catching that. On the table, declaring he wasn't gay. And it said he was very concerned that everyone knew he was straight. The investigator grabbed his hand and the two began to pray together, which is
really?
Yeah. And at the end of the prayer, Thomas said, "I did it." And he was immediately arrested and charged with second-degree murder.
I wonder what that officer said during that prayer. I bet it's recorded. It's in an interrogation room.
Yeah, and I saw clips of it. I couldn't see the whole thing. I didn't see the prayer, but
an interesting strategy. If it was a strategy, or maybe he genuinely wanted to pray. I don't know.
Well, I know at one point reading the transcript, when he asked what will happen to me when I tell the story, I think that the detective said something like, "That's in God's hands," or something. So maybe that's what led into the prayer. I don't know.
And the jury's hands.
Well, yeah, exactly. The next morning, though, as prosecutors review the case and the evidence against Thomas, they shock everyone when they announce that they're going to drop the charges for now.
What?
They didn't think there was enough to arrest him just yet. They had his confession, but they wanted physical evidence before going to trial and presenting a faulty case. And even though the light brown hair found on Eric's body looks very similar to Thomas's, especially if you see pictures of him back in the day, very similar to Thomas's, but they were still waiting on that forensics from the FBI crime lab. So it's all based on a confession. There's no physical evidence. So on October 4th...
Can't he tell them something only the killer would know? Come on.
Well, right, but
all the details.
They're waiting on all the evidence. No, and they're waiting on evidence. Like,
I know, but if they hadn't released like that he was beaten with the chair, and he's like, "I beat him with a chair," like, okay, this is our guy.
Oh, right. I don't know how much of that was released.
Yeah,
I think a good bit of it, if not through hearsay, through the countless rumors and people gabbing on campus.
Yeah.
But still, all they really had was this. So on October 4th, even though he was absolutely the prime suspect, and they made that clear, he was released from prison until they could build a better case around him. Sorry.
Yeah.
This didn't sit well with everyone on campus.
Nah.
Stories of Thomas's bad temper started coming to the forefront. He threw a trash can once during class. Like, there's all these stories where he would like pop off. And they were certain that police had just released a killer back on campus to strike again. But there was some relief when he was all of a sudden suspended and Gallaudet told him he could not return as a student. So his parents came to get him and all of his stuff in the middle of the night, and they went back to New Hampshire.
Wow.
Yeah. The university drastically beefed up security on campus, and students got a much-needed break when they had to go home for the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
At the start of 2001, students came back, and it seemed like the investigation into Eric's murder had stalled. Even so, students were relieved that Thomas was no longer a student, so their fears of the killer striking again were somewhat eased. That is until February 3rd, 2001. At 4:15 a.m. on February 3rd, 2001, the fire alarm went off at Cogswell Hall. There was no fire, thank goodness, but students hurried out to go to their designated spots so their RA could do a head count, and one of the RAs realized he was missing someone. It was 19-year-old Benjamin Varner.
I was wondering what happened to him. He was the fourth Wild Wild West. Oh, buddy.
So the RA went to his room to check on him, and he, like Eric's RA, was met with a gruesome scene.
Oh, shit.
Ben was lying in a pool of blood. There was blood all over the room. Another student had been murdered only 4 months after the first murder, which, by the way, is still unsolved at this point. And this time,
have a confession, but
I know.
It sounds like it's not him either. Okay,
I know.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we have a confession, but it's unsolved as in there's been no justice.
Yeah.
He's out. I mean, he's...
Or no arrest, yeah.
Right. No arrest. This time, he wasn't bludgeoned, though. He was stabbed to death and his throat was slit.
Oh, my God.
Again, Ben was a freshman living in Cogswell Hall. And yet again, a little about him. He was originally from San Antonio, Texas. He wanted to be an accountant, and everyone said he was just full of love. Very sweet. He was one of the friends that, again, Eric met at orientation, who helped name the dorm the Wild Wild West. Mm-hmm. So of the 4 kids who met and hit it off, 2 of them did not make it through the first year.
Holy shit. And
it's
the other
awful.
One confessed to one of their murders, but it sounds like falsely.
Well, okay.
You keep
it's
going.
Awful. An autopsy revealed that he had been stabbed 17 times in the head, chest, and neck.
Yikes.
Again, his throat was cut open and he had a collapsed lung. Horrific. He put up a huge fight, though. He had a lot of defensive wounds, but sadly, he was overpowered. Washington, D.C. police, again, flooded the campus. Students walking up, seeing police cars and crime scene tape for the second time, not knowing what happened. God. They were like, are you fucking serious?
Freaking out.
Police start processing the scene in and around the dorm. And fortunately, they had a ton of evidence.
Yeah.
There was a blood trail leading away from his room and out the door of the dorm toward the adjacent dorm hall, indicating that the killer got hurt somehow. They thought it was obviously the killer's blood because it's a trail.
Right.
They also found a bloody shoe print, which was identified as a size 11 Nike Air Max. And Ben did not own those. Lastly, in a dumpster near the dorm, they found a bloodstained jacket and the knife, the murder weapon.
Oh, sloppy work.
Yeah.
But how eerie that would be to see the trail of blood, the blood. Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's a scene.
Did he pull the fire alarm, the killer?
So that is actually one part. I made a note at the end of all my research. I put little things, and I'm like, things I still don't understand.
Yeah.
We don't know that part.
Or maybe someone else did, and he was in that made him have to hurry, and that's why he became sloppy.
I kind of think he did. think he did.
Okay. Was it in the middle of the night? Sorry.
It was at 4 a.m., 4:15 a.m.
But you would think if he's going to do it, he's going to make sure he cleans up first while he has the place to himself, essentially.
Well, the murder, we'll find out, happened way before this.
Oh, God.
So they collect samples of the blood and all the other evidence. There, again, everything I listed, and in addition to that, fingerprints, there's a bunch. Anyway, so they collect all the other evidence. And now with 2 murders in the same dorm, they were confident that it was someone with a key card, not an outsider.
Yeah.
Not Anne.
Are we sure it wasn't Anne? Was she looked at back then? We don't know.
I don't know. It's worth taking a look for sure. After talking to staff and other students, they learned that the day before he was found, Ben wasn't in class. He didn't show up to meet friends that afternoon, and he missed a doctor's appointment. Also, his mom, who heard from him every single day, he either called or emailed her every single day, but she did not hear from him on February 2nd, which was very weird. So they know he was murdered that day. It had to be that day. He was found at 4:15 a.m., February 3rd. So he had been dead for hours.
Okay.
This threw everyone for a loop because Thomas was back in New Hampshire when this happened. So he couldn't have done it. Well, not so fast.
Holy shit.
I told you, this is a sordid tale. On February 2nd, 2001, 4 months after Eric's murder, Thomas was summoned back to D.C. to appear in front of a grand jury so they could determine if there was enough evidence to indict him for Eric's murder.
Yeah.
So he testified, and at the end of it, he was dismissed as a witness, which is actually a win for him.
Yeah.
They said, there's not enough evidence. He was scheduled to fly out right after that testimony on February 2nd. So they immediately pulled the flight records to make sure he got on that flight, and he hadn't.
What the hell? Is he the biggest moron?
He ended up staying in DC an extra night. So had he gotten on the plane, they would have known, like, he was murdered either while he was giving testimony or while he was at the airport. There's no way. It's so verifiable. But he missed his flight. He did not go. He stayed an extra day in DC. Ooh, so this is damning.
Yeah. And you just got off of one murder. Let's not push your luck and murder your other friend.
Okay. So, it's not looking good. Investigators immediately go question him. Obviously, he's yet again prime suspect in another murder. Meanwhile, the FBI puts up a $10,000 reward for information. Obviously, there are similarities. Two students, same college, living in the same dorm, both happen to live in single rooms without a roommate, murdered 4 months apart. But there are also differences. The way they were murdered, very different. Eric was bludgeoned. Ben was stabbed. The victims themselves were different. They were friends, but Eric, very social, very involved on campus. Ben kept himself shy. He didn't put himself out there that much. He wasn't involved in campus activities. So someone noted, like, his door being closed pretty much all day on the 2nd was not weird.
So maybe the killer pulled the fire alarm to make sure someone found him.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
They didn't want to leave him. There's some emotions there.
Yeah, exactly.
But and the fact that there's different, like, bludgeoned to death versus stab, I'm like, well, if Eric was that guy's first victim, they're always going to perfect their killing a little bit. Like, that was done by a chair. That was clearly crime of opportunity. He's not going to use a chair for the next victim. He's going to, Even though it sounds like the second victim was way more sloppy than the first. So.
Well, it was, and we'll get to all that. But they're comparing the similarities and differences. Obviously, similarities abound, but the idea of Eric's murder being a hate crime kind of goes out the window. Yeah, maybe it had nothing to do with him being gay, or on the contrary, maybe it does, and this is a copycat killer who's just trying to fuck with students, fuck with investigators. Like, who's next?
Ben straight?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, it didn't go through everyone's sexual orientation, but
right.
I think so. So after this, the university really beefed up security yet again. They put a lot more surveillance cameras up. They closed all gates except for the main entrance, so the 24-hour security guard could take down license plates of anyone coming in or out of campus. Yeah. Students were required to use their key cards to enter any dorm. No more holding doors open for people.
Right.
And staff members were recruited to stay in the dorms during overnight hours. And Cogswell Hall itself was closed. This was what closed Cogswell Hall, and the residents in it were reassigned to other dorms.
Right.
Even with the new security measures, though, students on campus are obviously losing their shit.
Sure.
According to the U.S. Department of Education, in 1999, the year before Eric's murder, really the year before Ben's murder as well, because it was February 2001, there had only been 11 murders on college campuses across the U.S., and only 3 of them had happened in dorms. Whoa. Now this small university has had 2 in a matter of 4 months.
Whoa.
So this is crazy. And
that's a crazy statistic.
Isn't that crazy? I really started digging into current, and I was like,
I was about to say, what is that number now?
I've got to stop. Yeah, it was hard to find. I did find a chart. It's more, but actually,
sure. But you told me college campuses. What say it again? I know 3 took place in dorms, but how many college campuses?
In 1999, 11 murders on college campuses. I want to say last year it was.
Well, we have Virginia Tech. I mean,
yeah, I know. So they break that down though. So it's presented in a different way. Like mass shootings, one thing. Murder, different type of murder, whatever. One thing. It actually, though, I remember the chart and I was like, I gotta stop. I'm not digging into this.
These are the rabbit holes that.
Yeah. It was kind of steady. It did peak in 2015, and then it's come down since then. But I don't know the numbers. Everyone's just gonna have to look.
Okay.
Anyway, and
that's fascinating.
Isn't that fascinating? So only 3 in the previous year happened in dorms. Now in 2000 to 2001, 2 in a matter of months. So
Wow.
that's crazy. And because of this, several students end up dropping out and moving home, which makes me sad. Even
especially when it's like a prestigious college.
I
Like,
know.
I worked hard to get here, and now I'm too scared for my life to stay.
My life.
Yeah.
Even Eric's parents came forward being like, please don't unenroll. But,
you worked too hard to get here. Yeah.
Yeah. It just adds to the tragedy type thing. And a lot of people did. It's sad. Police start interviewing students who lived in Cogswell Hall to see if they had seen anything or anyone who stood out to them. Someone, even if they knew them, but they didn't live there. Like, why were they in the hall, especially on the 4th floor, which is where Ben's room was. They were also curious, again, about the fire alarm. Who pulled it? There was no fire. It may not have to do with anything, but it might. Something to consider. So they're asking about that. They knew the murderer had to be hurt because of the trail of blood. So they're looking for injuries. Had to be
what? Oh, hurt.
Because of the trail of blood leading out of the dorm.
Sure.
So they're looking at everyone's hands, arms, whatever. They also know what kind of shoes the killer was wearing.
Yeah.
Nike Air Max, although popular.
Yeah.
But it's something. They know Ben didn't have them.
Right.
So. Finally, a break in the case came when they looked at Ben's bank account. After he was found, they did a search of his room, inventory of what could have been taken, and his wallet and checkbook were missing. So they looked at his bank account, and it showed that on February 2nd, someone had cashed a check, given that it was the day of the murder, and they were pretty sure it was after the time of murder, which I'm sorry, I don't have what they estimate the time of murder to be. It was earlier in the day on February 2nd.
Okay.
Because he missed class, he missed a doctor's appointment, he missed all this stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like February 2nd at night. It was sometime early.
Or night of February 1st. Who knows?
Yeah, sure.
Right?
No, I think because I think
he taught to,
his mom had got an email from him that night, I believe.
Okay.
And he was at dinner. So it was a second.
Okay. So some guy's trying to cash a check. Let's go.
Yeah. So given it was stolen the day of the murder, they're like, no. I don't think that was him. Let's go get the bank security footage. And meanwhile, the Secret Service handwriting expert said the handwriting on the check definitely differed from Ben's. He did not write it.
Oh, okay.
So they're confident the name on the check, the person it's made out to, is the killer.
Made it out to himself. This is amazing.
Luckily, they knew him well. Finally, on February 13th, 2001, 10 days after Benjamin's murder, he goes by Ben, but police called Thomas Minch to say, sorry about that. You're not a suspect in Ben's murder.
Oh, wait.
They then informed him that they had just arrested 20-year-old freshman Joseph Mesa.
Oh my God. That's why I gasped. I thought it was the 4th Wild Wild West guy. Wow. The fuck's his problem?
Oh, we'll get to it. Oh my God.
Wait, is he the one who discovered or went to his door?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he was. If you'll recall, Joseph is the one who alerted the RA that Eric's door had been closed and he smelled something. The evidence against him for Ben's murder was damning, and it was easy to link him to Eric's. But first, a little bit about Joseph. I thought you were going to finish that for me.
Sure.
We always love a little bit about
this person. Why did Thomas falsely confess?
Oh,
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Okay.
He didn't. We'll get there. So,
man.
Joseph was originally from Guam, and he was the son of a U.S. Army chief warrant officer.
Hey.
In high school, he was a star wrestler and voted most likely to be rich,
that was a superlative.
Yes. I know.
Love that superlative.
Most likely to be successful, maybe, but rich, huh? Well, it's ironic considering he was trying to make a career out of stealing money from his friends. We'll get to all of it.
Oh my God.
He
was going to be rich whether he worked for it or not.
Exactly. He actually started attending Gallaudet in 1999, but his roommate accused him of stealing $3,000 from him, and he reported it to campus officials. Joseph eventually admitted it, and he was suspended for 1 year. And then he re-enrolled in 2000. That's why he was a 20-year-old freshman, if that stuck out to you.
I did not catch that.
Oh, yeah. Well, aside from some petty theft like that, most people said he was very nice, very generous. As a teenager, he even spent time volunteering to help deaf kids, like encourage, like motivational, for them, like being a mentor, being like, no, you don't have to give up on any of your dreams. Like he really wanted to make a difference in that way, which was shocking.
Yeah.
Now he is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder, among other charges, and the evidence again is damning. Okay, so handwriting analysis showed that he had, of course, written that check from Ben Varner's checkbook, obviously.
Dipshit.
He was the one in the bank footage cashing said check, obviously. He had fresh wounds on his body, like he had been in a fight. Nowhere said where. I'm guessing arms, hands, whatever.
Yeah.
We know that Ben put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah.
His fingerprints were found in Ben's room. Lastly, he was a perfect match for the blood samples collected in the trail of blood at the scene.
Yeah.
So
Didn't Ben have skin under his fingernails if he put up a fight? Well,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a pretty slam dunk case that he's responsible, definitely for Ben's murder. So police start interrogating him, and it didn't take long before he sat down and he said, to be honest with you, I did it.
Oh, golly. Everyone's just confessing, huh?
I know. With the help of interpreters, he then made a 3.5-hour video confession, and here's what he said happened. He said he went into Ben's room sometime after 9 p.m. on February 1st, 2001. So it was February 1st, later in the night. I think his mom had heard from him via email earlier on the 1st.
Yeah.
Anyway, his intent was to rob him. When he walked in, though, he spotted a paring knife next to Ben's microwave. So he grabbed it and stabbed him in the neck to incapacitate him. But once he realized that Ben could easily identify him, he decided he needed to kill him. So he just kept stabbing him.
What?
So he was at his computer and he went up behind him, stabbed him in the neck, and Ben obviously turned around, saw him, and he was like, oh, well, now I have to kill you.
Oof. Oh.
So Ben...
God. For a chance of finding money.
Yes.
For the chance. God.
Ben fell to the floor and Joseph started choking and kicking him to make sure he was dead before slitting his throat. He then took the checkbook from his drawer and wrote a check to himself for $650, which is the one he was seen cashing. So he's going into all this, and before wrapping up the interview, Joseph said, quote, one more thing, I killed Eric Plunkett too.
Of course you did.
They're like, we know.
We figured.
Okay, again, he was the friend and across the hall neighbor of Eric, who alerted the RA of a weird smell coming from Eric's room, which, by the way, not one other person smelled. Not one other person reported this.
I was like, wow, how long was he dead for? Like,
no,
it was only a couple hours, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that stuck out to me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You threw me off with your Thomas confession.
I know. He also spoke at Eric's memorial. He consoled the Plunketts. I think he even gave the Plunketts some of the CDs and stuff that Eric let him borrow at one point, being like, he's like, y'all probably want this. So nice.
Oh my God. What a monster. What the hell happened to you?
So he goes on to confess what happened with Eric. Oh, and at one point during this confession, he picks up the chair he's sitting on in the interrogation room and demonstrates how he used it. He uses the corner of the leg. Oh, it's awful. It's disgusting.
Ew.
And then he said afterwards he framed Thomas for it because he and Eric had conveniently gotten in a fight. So he called the tip line to tell him about it. They searched Joseph's room and found the bloody Nikes, perfect match, which, again, exact match, and he hadn't cleaned them. This is 10 days after Ben's murder, so he hadn't cleaned them.
Ew.
Thank God, but dipshit.
Yeah.
They also found Ben and Eric's wallets in his room, and this would reveal some huge oversights in the investigation of Eric's murder.
Oh, wow.
Which now I'll go into. First of all, they never searched Eric's room to see if he had been robbed. And he had been. The most obvious thing that would be gone was his wallet.
Oh, wow.
Had they realized it was missing, they would have caught Joseph almost immediately because he used Eric's credit card several times after the murder. Several times. And this is infuriating. Get a load of this.
Oh, my God.
In the beginning of November 2000, Eric's parents got Eric's credit card bill. And his mom, Kathleen, noticed that there were several charges after Eric's death. There were a total of 10.
What?
Well, it's 10 attempts to use this card. I guess some were not successful, but plenty were. So she called the police.
Yeah.
And they sprint to these stores to get the surveillance footage, and they'd all been deleted. They said, we're way past it. They delete it every month. They were past the month.
That's infuriating.
They could have had him right then and there.
Wow.
Eric's
and
case,
because you didn't do your job well, this little shit got cocky and committed another murder.
I mean, wow. Eric's case was originally assigned to an investigator with a terrible rate for solving crimes. He had been in the department for 6 years. Half of his cases were unsolved, and 3 of his arrests were dismissed for lack of evidence. Like, why are you giving this murder, which is very unusual in this safe little campus, to this guy?
Oh my God. Why is this guy in our nation's capital?
No. The police had interviewed Joseph. Obviously, he lived across the hall, and he was the one alerting the RA, like, something's wrong. Mm-hmm. But they didn't request a background check on him, which if they did, it would have revealed that he was at one point suspended for theft. He had all these, like, little reports on him. No, like, big criminal records, but they're like, hi, he steals from people on campus a lot.
Yeah.
Had they known that and then did an inventory of Eric's room to see that he had been robbed, like, they could have pieced that one together.
Right.
Remember, they did do that for Ben's case, and they made an arrest within 10 days. So,
right. Wow.
They also did not take into account Joseph's weird account of smelling something foul when nobody else smelled it. They asked. They said he was the only one with that account. That didn't stand out? That didn't indicate to you that it was somebody who wanted a body to be found?
Especially with heightened senses, right?
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one else said they smelled anything. So they got a lot of heat for this investigation.
Sure.
And they came out and said, we're accountable and we need to do better. So that's that.
Okay.
During the confession, Joseph said that he was glad to get it off his chest because the entire campus was in uproar and he felt bad about that. But I'm like, or just stop murdering people.
What's his problem?
Okay. He wants money.
That's all I want. But because these guys, it didn't sound like that significant amount of money. It's they're freshmen, just like you. What are you going to get? A couple $100, maybe.
Well, they had credit cards, so I mean, he cashed a check for $650. He bought a lot of stuff on Eric's. I think a bike was mentioned at one point. Like they had credit cards with high limits. I don't know.
It's just okay. I don't equate petty crime to murder. Like I would not think it would lead to that. I don't care how much money he wants to steal from his friends. Seems
bizarre.
Weird. Yeah.
Well, I cannot wait to tell you about his defense.
Oh,
anyway,
great.
His attorney asked that he be released while he was awaiting his preliminary hearing, given his clean record and history of community service, to which the judge said, what? No. He killed 2 people.
Right.
And he has a ton of family in Guam.
No.
Like he's a possible flight risk.
Right.
No. He's dangerous. He stays put.
Yeah, stays put.
When Eric's family and Ben's family were first notified about their arrest, they were shocked. Eric's sister knew exactly who Joseph was. She had been talking to Eric on a webcam like shortly before he was killed. And during that call, she saw another guy in his room and was like, who's that? So Eric introduced them. It's his friend Joseph. They met on the call. Like she was like, I knew exactly who he was. Ben's family said that they had gotten emails about a guy he met from Guam, and his name was Joseph, and they were hanging out, and he was cool. I just don't think they knew it hit so close to home, and the fact that they couldn't protect their own sons just killed them.
I'm sure.
But the arrest and confession, obviously, a step in the right direction. They finally knew what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Minch's family was also very relieved for their son to be exonerated.
And
they're
really
also
pissed.
Furious. Yeah. This could have been solved sooner if they didn't have tunnel vision on Thomas, but because they didn't do something as simple as to look into the one person who alerted them that something was wrong in Eric's room,
right,
which is standard. I mean, the person
who finds the
body or alerts them that something's wrong, that's the one you start with. No, they zeroed in on Thomas, and it ruined his reputation. They offered him to re-enroll after all this, and he said, No, thank you.
Right. Oh. He ruined a lot of people's futures. All those people who dropped out and whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I wonder what the rate for people coming back after this was. Like, was it a temporary leave of absence until they whatever? I don't know. Yeah. He fucked a lot of things up though. The interrogation where Thomas allegedly confessed was completely misinterpreted by the leading investigator. Thomas admitted that he did have an argument with Eric, but he never pushed him. That happened. But he said, we're friends. We're not going to be anything more than that. And Eric said, okay. There was no physical altercation. So you'll remember when I rehashed that confession, I said, according to the police report, it was in the police report, but it was all bullshit. There's just a huge...
At the fault of the cop, not the interpreter?
Well, everyone. There was a huge barrier. You should see these interviews. There's two interpreters in there. They're having to go back and forth between Thomas, them, and then to the cop, and then how they're relaying it. It went on for 4 hours. Thomas is very confused. He said even when they were booking him and getting his fingerprints and mugshot, he was like, wait, what? What'd I say? I didn't... Very sad.
Oh, God. This is tragic.
And I did see the little clip of him saying, I did it after the prayer. And I'm like, I don't hear that. I mean, like, you don't see it. You can't see it. I mean, like, it's, you don't, because the interpreter is saying, I mean, the interpreter, they're signing back and forth. And then one of the interpreters says, he's saying, I did it or something. But I'm like, I didn't hear that. I need to rewind, but no, it's all crap.
What a twist it would be if it were the interpreter.
Oh yeah,
like it was just the murderer and
really
just
framing
fucked with
yeah. It was a mess. Like it's just so when the prosecutors the next day reread the police report, they're like, because Thomas at that point was like, wait, what? I did not confess. So they're like, wait, this is a mess. We don't have physical evidence. It doesn't sound like we really have a confession other than they got in an argument.
Yeah.
That's why they released them.
This
doesn't
okay. Work. That makes more sense.
They were banking on the fact that hair would be his, and it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is so sad.
It's really
he's
sad.
Confused and he's like, wait.
He was like, why are they taking my mugshot? So Thomas Minch later filed a lawsuit for false arrest and defamation of character against the DC police for $2 million. That was in 2001 after trial, but I found a document from 2008 saying the police acted in good faith and it sided with the police, but he was appealing it. And I don't know anything after that. That's where it stood in 2008.
Poor Thomas. My God.
Yeah. And again, that hair found on Eric's body didn't match Thomas. It didn't match Joseph or Eric either. It was just a random, but people are in that dorm room all the time. So
yeah,
it didn't.
That just, I wonder how they changed that now. Either I would be like, no, I'm writing it down. I don't even trust you, interpreter. I don't trust him. I'm going to write it down in my own words so there's no confusion.
Yeah. It's
awful.
It's awful. And I'm like, who are we most mad at? Definitely not Thomas. He did nothing wrong.
I'm pretty mad at
misinterpret
at Joseph.
Well, yeah, of course, but with the Thomas thing, did the investigator hear what he wanted to because he knew that they got in a fight? It wasn't physical. Even later,
and had a sexual encounter.
Had a sexual encounter.
Oh wow! When he wanted to keep that a secret, it sounds like So there was motive there, but it doesn't mean he's a monster.
And he's not.
He's
very sweet.
Oh.
So Joseph was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as well as 13 additional related charges to robbery, burglary, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he confessed, he pleaded guilty by reason of insanity.
Uh-oh. Hold on to your fucking hat.
Of this.
Okay, let's go.
He said he had been seeing visions of black leather gloves signing to him to kill. To further the hilarity, the black leather gloves were those of famed 80s, 90s wrestler, The Undertaker.
Oh, I thought you were going to say OJ's.
Oh, no, I wish. No, I'll say it again. He was seeing visions of The Undertaker's gloves telling him to kill.
Signing to him?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. The Undertaker's like, no, my gloves are innocent.
When I tell you, I looked for a quote from him. His real name's Mark something. Sorry, not a wrestling fan. 80s, 90s wrestler.
Get out of here.
If you're not Stone Cold Steve Austin and you weren't
I don't
like
know who you are.
Our fourth
Hulk
grade.
Hogan.
Yeah, our fourth grade guy friends being like, suck it.
Yeah.
360, whatever the fuck. Then I do not know who you were. So, no, I looked for a quote from him to see if he would respond to that. And I couldn't find one. But again, one of those things, I'm like, gotta stop this. Damn. Isn't that a hell of a vision?
Yeah, his like team, Undertaker's team was like, do not even respond to this. No way.
We're not doing this.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous. His gloves were...
His gloves. It's just his hands, but they're very famous because he's the Undertaker. They're black.
Very persuasive.
They're fingerless. They're leather. Google it.
They are evil gloves.
Yes. So Joseph's trial starts May 2nd, 2001. And on May 1st, 2001, the day before, the prosecutors were presented a letter that Joseph had written in jail to his girlfriend at the time saying he was planning to fake insanity to get off. And he needed her to participate in just a couple of little lies to help him out, saying, quote, none of this is true, but I hope it'll work anyway.
Wow. Putting dipshittery in writing.
I know.
That's great.
He also wrote to his brother-in-law in Guam, asking him to destroy some sort of evidence. I don't know what was over in Guam, but dipshit.
Well, probably something of Ben's because of the holidays. He probably went back home, probably had some old evidence in his pocket.
No, from Eric's, you mean?
I mean,
Ben was murdered after the holidays.
That's what I mean.
Probably. Lucky for the prosecutor, these letters were admitted during trial and read to the jury, who also agreed he was a dipshit. During trial, they also played the full confession where he admits he targeted Eric because of his cerebral palsy, saying he was weak.
God, that's a monster.
He had even practiced sneaking into Eric's room when Eric's back was turned to see if he could go undetected, which I think was when Eric's sister was like, hey, who's that? I'm not kidding. I think. I don't know that for sure, but I think.
That is spooky as shit.
Cruel.
Wait. Okay. And this guy used to like volunteer with kids who probably have like self-esteem issues, being like, don't let your hearing loss affect you've got this, go for it.
And also,
and now he's killing because someone is considered weak in his
and he wants their money.
Wow.
He's
so
cruel.
Fucking
and
monster.
And with the weak comment, I'm like, it does seem like a crime of opportunity to murder him with his own chair, essentially. But I'm like, but you did plan it. That's very premeditated. You practiced sneaking in his room weeks before the murder.
Right.
Just to rob him while he was there? Wait till he's in class. What do you mean?
Honestly, that's what I mean. I'm like, there's
it's very premeditated.
Also, if you're murdering someone with a disability, you're weak, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
You're weak.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
And then he went on to say he considered killing his own roommate, but figured that would be too risky. They'd obviously look to him first, but he did end up stealing his roommate's credit card.
Okay, this isn't robbery motivated. He just wants to kill. I found that complete bullshit.
Right.
Okay. He has a taste for blood.
Yes. After, this is still part of his trial, his confession. After they got back from Christmas break, he was very low on money, so he started hunting for his next target and learned that Ben Varner lived alone and had a little bit of money. Since Ben was bigger and more of a threat, he needed a weapon. After the brutal killing, he walked in, he used Ben's knife. He saw the weapon, but he went in there hunting for a weapon, saw the knife by the microwave, which his parents had just sent him because he liked to cut up apples as a snack. I can't.
Oh my God.
It's sad. Anyway, so after the brutal killing, he was in such a panic that he left all the incriminating evidence behind.
Mm-hmm.
So he claimed he confessed out of guilt, and that he felt bad that the campus was in uproar, but prosecutors obviously doubt that. He confessed because he made no attempt to clean up the scene.
Yeah.
The only somewhat attempt was getting rid of evidence. Was throwing out the bloody jacket and the murder weapon. He threw it in the dumpster that was up against the dorm building.
God,
Again,
this guy's a moron.
Dipshit. They presented him with a jacket and they were like, he was like, that's not mine. And then
Hey, where'd you get that? I threw that out.
Several friends were like, oh no, that's his. It's like distinct. Yeah, that's Joseph's jacket. Duh.
Oh my God.
Fucker.
Wow. What a moron.
I know. And I do think he pulled the fire alarm. It was just never confirmed in his confession that I read. Again, it's 3.5 hours long. But he did say in the confession, I did see this, that he started after a day, like a full day went by. He hadn't heard through the grapevine that they found Ben's body. He started being like, oh, they need to find the body. So okay. I
bet that is what he did.
I do think.
But you didn't even clean up first. Like wow.
He actually left in such a haste that he came back and stole the checkbook. I'm like, even then you didn't clean up? Like hours later, he was like, when he finally calmed down, he went back in there. And he said, in that case, he stared at him for 20 minutes. Oh, it's sick.
He stared at him for 20 minutes?
At Ben's body, saying he couldn't believe what he did. But I'm like, it's so...
Robbery is not the motive here.
Yeah.
This is something way darker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, the Undertaker told him to do it and told him how to do it.
I know, but he already said that that's bullshit. He's going to claim insanity. I think, didn't he make that up?
Of course he did.
No, he didn't really have visions of that. So.
No, of course not. He told his girlfriend he was going to fake insanity and come up with
yeah.
And he really dug deep with that one. He was like, what is the most batshit thing I can say? What is the most batshit thing I can say? He's just pulling stuff out. He's
pulling things out like it.
Okay.
I can't riff on it.
When he learned,
he should have gone with OJ's glove though. That's more evil probably than the Undertaker's.
I know.
You know, that glove has committed murder. You know.
Yeah, but he couldn't see that vision being a big bad killer who gets away with murder. Mm-hmm. On those tiny little gloves against that swollen big ass hand.
Right.
And two of them. There's, I don't know. So he went with the Undertaker, and the Undertaker's like, don't drag me into this. So when he originally pleaded guilty by insanity, excuse me, 3 psychiatrists examined him and for the prosecution and found him to be depressed and antisocial, but sane. And said he's going to fake mental illness, obviously, the letters. But defense experts said that he suffered from a rare condition known as intermittent explosive disorder, and he could not control his actions. It's a disorder where the person can't resist aggressive impulses.
He's just like going to be prone to crimes of passion.
He's just going to, he's going to pop off into a rage, and he can't help himself, is what they say. The defense had an expert testify about Joseph's tough childhood with a father. This is awful. With a father who, and by the way, throughout the trial, his dad is like, I cannot believe our sweet son would do this. Like, this is a shock to us. I cannot apologize to the victims, all this stuff. But they talked about his tough childhood with a father who had beaten him over his inability to communicate.
No.
So he would get so frustrated that he couldn't hear him. He would beat his ass. So Joseph grew up feeling unloved and like an outsider. And as a result, he'd fly into these uncontrollable fits of rage and do terrible things. His father later told reporters that he didn't know how big of an impact his own behavior would have on his son, Joseph.
Well, then you shouldn't have children, sir.
He said, that's just how kids in Guam were raised, and I didn't know any better. I was like, oh, so you did do that. Wow. Yikes.
Ooh.
I mean, again, people grow up with shitty
asshole
fathers all the time and don't do this to, again, you preyed on someone else with cerebral palsy for that reason, for his disability. And you had the shit beat out of you for your disability. It's cycle.
Right. Here's what I would want to know. If he has the,
intermittent explosive disorder.
I'd like to hear about, some other times he's popped off in his life where it didn't commit to murder, but
there was a very specific time that I am not saying.
Really?
It is disgusting. It was when he was a teenager. Yes.
Oh.
It is the grossest thing. Our listeners would cancel us in 2 seconds. It's disgusting.
Okay. So
feel free to Google it.
But that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But How does that translate to a diagnosis of that rare intermittent explosive and not just, oh, you're a serial killer? A lot of serial killers have killed animals in a gruesome way first. So like, when was he diagnosed with that? I want to hear about it as a child. Or whatever,
while they're prepping for trial.
Okay. See, I'm like, if he grew up with this, they knew it from the jump and it went untreated. I'm like, oh, parents, you did something wrong. I mean, maybe, but
I don't know. Yeah.
He seems more strategic than that.
Well, he is. I don't
buy it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, clearly he pops off in fits of rage, but if it's uncontrollable, I don't know about that.
But wouldn't something have to trigger him? Someone sitting at their desk? You walked in looking to kill, and then you got angry looking at him? Like, what? Did you get angry, riled up before and then go into
And
it?
what I don't get is why, if your intent was to rob them, as you say, wait till they're in class. Why do you care that Eric has cerebral palsy and is weak? You don't need him there. Just rob him and walk out.
If that's what he's saying. The robbery thing is
definitely
saying that.
He says
bullshit.
That well, I know, but that's his stance. He said the plan was to rob both of them. And I'm like, then why are you waiting for them to be sitting at their computer with their back turned? Like, just wait till they're in class. I'll say it again. But really, now he's flipping the switch and saying the Undertaker told him to. I'm not kidding, because he gets on stand and that's when he presents that.
They put him on stand?
The stand. And that's when he said it was the Undertaker's gloves giving him visions. And then he threw in that it's a really good thing he got caught after Ben's murder, because the gloves told him to kill the lead prosecutor and then himself. Phew. Good. Woo. He did not have time to take that directive before he was killed. Before he was arrested. I'm sorry. Thank goodness.
Woo. Bad glove.
And then, of course, they let him present all of that. And the jury's probably reeling from like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then they're like, oh, well, hold on. Well, listen to this letter he wrote his girlfriend in jail saying he's gonna fake insanity.
Right.
And then they're like, okay, now let's go deliberate. Okay. So jurors found Joseph guilty of 2 counts of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life without parole. He's currently sitting at a high-security prison in Atwater, California. I don't know how he ended up over there.
Okay.
Not sure.
All right.
And when you're going through this case, it's crazy. Everything that had to be done in order to accommodate the defendant being deaf, needing everything relayed to him. They had to put partitions up around he and his attorney so they could talk without everyone seeing what they're talking about. It's crazy.
But why don't you just write down? You see people writing down to their attorney, passing notes.
Well, then it takes even longer. But like everyone on stand, they would have to pause so that someone could sign to him who...
Yeah, I bet this took forever.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
But that is the awful story of the murders of Eric Plunkett and Ben Varner. And wow, they have since turned. I read one that Cogswell Hall was converted into a general use building, but it's not. It's still a dorm. It's now called Ballard, and there's still residential halls. It's Ballard West and Ballard. Again, I think it's like north. I don't think it's east.
I am very unsatisfied.
Can you believe how crazy it is for poor Thomas Mensch? The one day he comes back in town is when another student's murdered. And I don't think it was announced that the grand jury was meeting that day. People knew there was going to be a grand jury hearing for Thomas Mensch, but I don't think Joseph Mesa could have planned that is the day that he's going to be in town. Not only that, he's not going to go home when he's supposed to. He's going to stay an extra day. Wow. Bad.
I bet he was like, fuck, when he,
Yeah.
Oh, God. That is so unsatisfying. I need a motive. I need a reason, man. A real one.
Though at one point, the prosecutor said,
did they not theorize anything? Like,
well, he's just a dangerous, violent human being. They asked, would you think if you were released or if you got off, you would kill again? He said, probably. Okay. He went back and forth between playing the I feel bad for the campus, I've caused this uproar and I just want it to end, to being completely emotionless about it. He could not care less.
Yeah, no.
At his hearing, they said he did not make a
This has
any
just
sort
always
of reaction,
been within
no
him.
emotion.
He just hit it very well by way of volunteering community service. And
being nice and social to people.
oh, wow.
No, he was always
Killing
looking for an
his
opportunity.
friends. So bizarre.
Yeah, it's
And that is why people are the worst. And they come in shapes of nice people and get into prestigious universities. And be careful. Stay suspicious out there.
For real. Oh, and then at the 2004 graduation, which would have been their graduating year, they were honored during the ceremony. Aww. Ben and Eric, it's just awful.
Awful.
Custom shout out from Jamie. My custom shout outs to my badass mom, Gail Woloff. Yeah, I think so. Woloff? At 66 years old, she has published her first novel. Wait, we get so many writers. It's badass.
Oh,
I love it. She published her first novel, and I could not be more proud of her. These last couple of years, my mom and I have really enjoyed bonding over true crime. Although I haven't gotten her into podcasts yet, I know she would love you as much as I do, minus your potty mouths. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
But we're talking about assholes.
I know. What do you call someone who fucking sucks? I don't know.
Or who's a dipshit.
Or who's a huge dipshit.
What do we do? We're stuck. Our hands are tied. Like there's our hey.
Hi-oh. Her book, Songs of Nemea. Okay. Oh, yeah, I got it right. A novel of King David's harem. Oh, my gosh. Is great for anyone who loves historical fiction or just wants to read about badass female survivor. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and pretty much anywhere you can find a book these days. She just completed writing her second, so please keep an eye out for it next year. Love you more than you can imagine, Mom. Jamie. That was very nice.
Oh, that's very nice. Jamie, wow. She's not going to hear it because she doesn't listen to podcasts.
I know, but that's okay. You tell her, good job, Gail.
Good job. Congrats on 2 books. My God.
Songs of Nemea. Go check it out. That's badass.
And she wrote a second one, right?
She's writing a second one. It should be out next year.
Good for you.
Good for you. And Gail, it's Gail Woloff. It's WALHOF. So you'll find it. You do that right now. Patrons, thank you so much for joining. Dan, Jill, Alexandra, Lisa, Jess, Shannon, Marina, Elvina, one of them. Shannon, Harley, Robert, Holly, Alyssa, Amber, Caitlin, Jennifer, Lauren.
Yes.
What's up?
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank
you for joining.
And you're the best.
People are the worst.
Bye.